Hello, listeners. This is the Amer channel of Akashvani Jaipur. In our English program, Vision and Voice, we bring you a talk, read, and lead. And this talk is brought to you by Elvira Fernandez. She's a famous author, and today she will enlighten us as to how reading habit is very important and how it helps us to become a good leader. So, over to Elvira Fernandez for the talk, read, and lead.
If you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales, said Albert Einstein, the world's greatest physicist. Dear friends, I remember as a young child, my grandmother and her sisters instilled in me a love for reading by opening doors that no one can now close. They introduced me to fables like The Fox and the Grapes, The Elephant and the Tailor, The Greedy Dog, and fairy tales like Cinderella, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, and Sleeping Beauty, among others, in beautifully illustrated books. As I grew older, my father and mother fed this hunger for more reading by supplying me with more literature from around the world. I was gifted Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island, Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist and David Copperfield, Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, among other classics. During the summer vacation, my mother would specially add to these books comics like Chacha Chaudhary, Tinkle, and Amer Chitrakatha. From the library of the school where she taught, she would issue books to nurture my love for Hindi literature as well. I fondly remember reading stories like Prayashchit by Bhagwati Charan Verma, Munshi Premchand's Kashmiri Seb, Tagore's Kabuliwala, tales of Akbar and Birbal, and witty stories of Tenali Raman. From here, I next went on to read Enid Blyton's famous 5 series, the 5 Find Outers series, the Adventure series, Mr. Pink Whistle series, Caroline Keene's Nancy Drew series, and R.K. Narayan's Malgudi Days. As a young adult, I read my share of Mills and Boon's and Barbara Cartland's romance novels. Betty Neal's always stood out for me as a favorite among romance novelists. Khushwant Singh's Train to Pakistan left me with a sting of unfulfilled love's pain. Extensive and intensive reading over the years prompted me to take up my pen as I felt the urge to put on paper thoughts and ideas. I began writing rhymes and short stories for kids. I then went on to pen children's literature, fantasy, and romance novels. By the way, did I tell you that Sudha Murthy and Ruskin Bond soon joined other authors on my bookshelf? Well, today Mr. Ruskin Bond is my favorite author, and I would like to wish him a belated happy birthday through this powerful channel. He just turned 90 years young on 19th May this year. His writing is so lucid. He talks enchantingly about the beauties of nature and the charm of cuisines. I'm bewitched by the words that flow from his pen as I turn pages after pages of his books. He has mentioned in his autobiographical accounts and memoirs that he was a vociferous reader as a boy. Some of his favorite reads include those by T.E. Lawrence, Charles Dickens, Charlotte Bronte, and Rudyard Kipling. He says that he raided his father's library at home and also the school's library he studied in for any written material he could devour. And at the age of just 17 years, he went on to pen his first novel, The Room on the Roof, a semi-autobiographical piece. It was published when he turned 21. This novel won him the prestigious Jonathan Rhys Memorial Award. Some of his notable works are The Blue Umbrella, A Flight of Pigeons, Crazy Times with Uncle Ken, and Funny Side Up. His works have also been adapted for television and films. A prolific writer, today He's a source of inspiration to many like me who have taken up writing earnestly. Dear friends, what exactly are the benefits of pursuing a good reading culture? Let me tell you that the advantages are innumerable. Kindly allow me to enumerate a few for you. Firstly, reading opens your eyes to different cultures and times. I remember I read this story by Sudha Murthy, How I Taught My Grandmother to Read. The story takes the reader to North Karnataka, where everyone reads, writes, and speaks Kannada. The story brings out the tradition of Saraswati Puja as well as the helplessness of the grandmother, who expresses her grief of being unlettered as she got married very early. The 12-year-old granddaughter becomes the guru. And at the end, we see the grandmother touching the little girl's feet as a mark of respect when she can finally read Kashi Yatre by Triveni. Secondly, reading helps us to live. I'm sure many of you must have read this famous story by Franz Kafka, The Doll. In a park, Kafka met a girl crying inconsolably. She was looking for her doll, which had got lost. Kafka tried to help the girl by hunting for her lost doll. What followed were numerous letters from her doll which told the little girl about her adventures. These letters were apparently written by Kafka and brought comfort to the child. When a new doll was finally produced, it obviously looked different. But Kafka explained that the doll's appearance was altered because her travels had changed her. It is believed that when this little girl grew up, she understood the true meaning of this episode. Everything you love will eventually be lost, but love will return in a different form. Reading helps us to accept life in all its forms and live happily. Thirdly, reading helps to create opportunities and build new bonds. As I've told you, I'm an avid reader. I'm used to carrying a book with me wherever I go. People often stare at me at the doctor's clinic when I have to wait for my turn. In the course of these many years, I ended up getting into a conversation and discussing books with maybe a handful of other patients. But the icing on the cake was connecting on this rather pleasant platform with our family physician, who it turned out is an avid reader himself. And so is his granddaughter. Each time I publish a new book, he is among the first to receive a copy. I was touched when this year he did me the honor of sending home a sweet message penned by his granddaughter and a congratulatory gift on the occasion of my book's launch. Lastly, reading builds vocabulary and is entertaining. How would you know of what's it to be in a pickle or go on a wild goose chase if you don't read the world's greatest dramatist, William Shakespeare? And you cannot deny that it will be wonderful to be an eternal child with Peter Pan, or fly on a broomstick and play Quidditch with Harry Potter, or jump down the rabbit hole with Alice and enter Wonderland where the Red Queen shouts, "Off with their heads!" But my dear friends, reading doesn't produce immediate results. It is a long-term investment. There's the story of a farmer who grew a bamboo seed and ferns. He watered them both and tended to them lovingly. The fern sprouted and spread its foliage in a short span of time, but not the bamboo. The farmer watered the seed and waited. For 5 years, the bamboo didn't sprout. And then, one day, the farmer saw a tiny sapling. He was overjoyed. Amazingly, this same bamboo sapling shot up to 90 feet in a matter of 2 months. For those 5 years, it was taking root. It was creating a strong foundation. You may not see immediate results of reading, but you will see them for sure in the future. As an educator, I often insist that my students spend quality time with books of their favorite genre. For that, they first need to identify what interests them, and then, slowly as they enjoy reading, experiment and expand their reading preferences. This is no hidden secret. A persevering reader becomes a leader. We have numerous examples in William Douglas, the longest serving justice in the history of American court; Nelson Mandela, the first president of South Africa; Mahatma Gandhi, the father of our nation; APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man of India; Sudha Murthy, author and philanthropist; Shashi Tharoor, a public intellectual, former diplomat, writer, and Under Secretary General of the United Nations. And then we have the Minister of Foreign Affairs in India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is extremely well read; Steve Jobs, an ardent reader who was greatly inspired by the book Autobiography of a Yogi; and of course Bill Gates, who is believed to read 50 books a year, or roughly one book a week. He went on to pen the book The Road Ahead, which talks amusingly about how the internet and technology did not go the way he predicted. These renowned men and women have been voracious readers. They have had and do have the power to sway the minds of the people and shape the world. Their reading experiences, irrespective of fiction or non-fiction, molded them and their thoughts, creating leaders in varied fields. Well. John Maxwell, a prolific writer, says, "Readers are leaders." I believe if you want to lead your life, you need to read books that inspire, inform, and offer insights. Then you can start to truly lead yourself. Dear friends, to be a good leader, you have first got to truly lead yourself. And although now I hate doing this, I have got to say goodbye. But before I do that, I would like to leave you with thought-provoking, even if contradictory words of Harry S. Truman. Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. Thank you.
Read and lead. You were listening to this talk. This talk was presented by Elvira Fernandez. This program was conceived and devised by Reshma Shirwani, and the credit of the edit goes to Manisha Arora. With this, we come to the end of this special broadcast. This broadcast came to you from the Amer station of Akashvani Jaipur, Kashmir.